Good morning, good morning. I've been waiting to share this with you for a while now. We're back into our botanicals, our flower classes. This is so much fun. You are going to love it. Love, 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 love it. I promise. This baby was painted with no other than spaghetti noodles. And these are cooked spaghetti noodles, obviously. You can do this with yarn. But you probably have access to spaghetti before you have access to some yarn. So we're going to get started. But isn't this, it's just gorgeous. So easy. You could do this, I'm going to demo it without touching a paintbrush for all the goodness up front. Well, maybe the splatters, not the splatters. But here we go. All right. So we're going to start with, I did these on watercolor paper, and I just want to show you a couple variations. I painted the background real quick with a wash, lighter green on the bottom. I didn't go dark because I do want my stems and stalks to show up. So I went with more of a lighter green. You can take green and lighten it using some yellow, make it a limey color, or even just a little white, and water it down, make a wash out of it. So I better just go on and do another one just to show you. Let's see. I'm just gonna see if I can do it on the back. All right, we'll do it on the back of, I will just do, let's see, we'll do this one. All right, so when I'm talking about a wash, I'm talking about getting water in your paint, okay, and making it a little bit soupy. So when you put that paint on, it is just a nice light coat. Can't talk this morning. Now, do not make your horizon line straight. Let's just make it a little wonky. Okay. Now, does it matter how far you come up? No. If you wanted your viewpoint, your vantage point, to be down low. So think about this. If you're laying in the grass and you look up, let's just say your chin is, grass level, you will see more grass and then sky in the background. I mean, what am I talking about here? The horizon. Your horizon line is going to be higher up. If you are standing and looking more down into a field, you might see more sky because you're standing up higher and less ground. So it just really depends. This one, when I look at this, I kind of feel like I'm eye level with these flowers, if that makes sense. I feel like I am, kind of tucked in here looking through them. That's just what the vantage point feels like to me. Let me find another one here. Well, you'll see. Same with this one. This one I feel like I'm in like a little burrow kind of looking up. But I really think it's because the grasses are taller and your horizon line is more in the middle or towards the top. All right, enough being said. You put it wherever you want to. And blue, I'm just going to do a light blue if I can find my blue here this morning. La la la. Okay, so I did dark ones. I'm gonna do something really light this time. Okay, nothing wants to work. My mouth doesn't want to talk. Words don't want to come out this morning. Okay, so I'm just gonna put a blue wash in, just so you can see a wash. Now, this paper, the back of it is fine to use. See all these marks of prior painting on it? I love it. It's no big deal. You can use it. With that being said, I do want to show you some ideas that you could do with paper that has been already painted, because I love the way it looks in the background. You see all that? I'm dropping stuff everywhere. Okay, this paper right here, you notice the sky is very dark, and there's some darkness in here. You can see some of this kind of a golden color. I'm trying to find, I believe this was the actual piece of paper that I had. Let's see, do those line up? I don't know. No, that was not it. maybe it was this one. I took a couple pieces of paper and just chopped them in half, and I had already painted on them just to show you how you can use kind of a mess up sheet of paper for the background or one of your crazy sheets. Well, shoot, I don't even know what I did with it. I probably painted on it. Oh well. But this is fine. This has some of that golden color in the background. I was probably painting a dog and, you know, blotted this off or what have you. I still painted over it. I didn't make my horizon line straight because why be straight? Crooked is so much easier. Okay, this one. I love this one. And you're going to look at me and go like, what is wrong with you? But I love all this purple and the red. It just gives it so much dimension and texture in the background. Same with this one. This one you can see orange through here. And it had, you know, I don't even know what this was going to be. This one, you could even see where I scraped in the paint. It's actually raised right here. You can see big old globs of paint, which is fine. Now, this one, because it's class and you all will probably make your own paper to start with. This one I took just a plain sheet of watercolor paper, same as this one right here, and did the blue at the top and the green at the bottom. Okay, but you notice my line is not straight. No straight lines. So to demo this, I will use both. I'm going to use, we'll save that one for later. I'm going to use this piece because I've been dying to use it. And I'm going to use the non-wonky piece for you all. Okay, so you're painting with spaghetti today, people. The first thing you're going to want to do is get some green, okay, some yellow, maybe some white, and we're going to make kind of a big blobby puddle. Now I'm not putting too much water, but you need some water in here to make this paint a little bit less thick. All right. So now you're going to take your spaghetti, and like I tell my kids at school, we're not beating the spaghetti. We're not beating the paper with the spaghetti. It's a gentle movement. Your fingers are going to get dirty, and that is quite all right. I'm adding a little bit more water to this, by the way. And this color, look how it's the same color. It's not going to show up. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to add more green. I'm going to darken it up because you will not see it. I'm going to add a little bit more water. Okay, just a little bit at a time. All right, now this is the fun part. You take your spaghetti, all right, drag it through. Now, like I said, we are not taking our spaghetti and beating the paper, all right? It's a drop. You're just kind of dropping it. You can do multiple pieces, which is fun. Sometimes they'll stick together and make some larger stalks or stems. If you notice, I'm kind of keeping it towards the bottom because I like seeing these pieces growing from the edge up. Okay. See how these two pieces are like plopping together? All right. So I'm going to break them apart, and I'm just going to take one now. You can deliberately drag if you know, if you're trying to get this, you know, well, you can't really line up weeds. Never mind. That's kind of silly. So you're going to do this. You're going to repeat. I'm going to do this one too while we're here. Okay, this is pretty dark, so I'm going to have to lighten up my paint. Okay, just to show you. And this is what's going to happen. That's quite all right. Wear your apron, wear your old t-shirt. So now you've got still green paint, still stalky stems. This time I'm just going to put a little bit of yellow in my paint. Okay, I'm not going to mix it right in the middle. I'm just going to kind of keep it to the side. And I'm adding a little bit of water each time I do this. You can use the same piece of spaghetti. And you're going to get it nice and in there. And do you see what's happening? Now you're getting some green variations of color, tint. You lighten something up and you get like a tint of that color. Okay. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Now you can come back too with your darker. Add a few darker here and there. Okay. Now I think I'm going to lighten it up a little bit more with white. You guessed it. So we're giving this some depth. You don't want all of your weeds, your grasses, to be the same green, because they're not when you look out there. Same pieces. I'm going to drag it through that lighter color. Does it show up? I think I still have some of that dark one here. Oh yeah. I don't know if you can see that. Now, I'm going to put some white on here. And I'm just going to drag it through the white this time. Just to make that super light. I'm just going to grab another piece of spaghetti. Okay. Oh yeah, there you go. It's mixing on the, it's actually mixing on the painting with that the wet green that's already there. So even though this is like almost pure white that I'm putting it in, it's still got a little bit of green to it. Okay, and don't worry if these things get all wonky, you know, bendy. It's okay, it doesn't matter. It's spaghetti. Okay, so now you have this glorious weed patch. I love the fact that it's, you know, it's kind of, I see it moving kind of up this way. So now we get to add the flowers. And adding the flowers, I told you we're going to do this basically a whole painting without using a paintbrush. I used my fingers for this one. I'm trying to hold this again without getting paint all over it. I used my fingers. I used my pinky fingers. You could use a Q-tip, which we'll dive into, because Q-tips are always a great painting tool in my book. Definitely. So let me grab a Q-tip or two. Now this is still wet. I would probably hit it with the hair dryer real quick before I did this, but since we are letting this video roll, we're going for it today. All right, I'm going to trade this plate off because it is pretty wet with paint. So I'm going to put some white down. The reason I'm putting white down is sometimes when you use the yellow, I like to put kind of an underbase of white sometimes, just here and there. It makes that yellow pop a little bit more. Now, I'm taking this Q-tip and just dabbing. I am getting green in it right now because the green is still wet, which is, it's okay. So I like this one, it's a droopy one. Maybe that's heavy. Maybe we'll do purple and yellow today. Those are complementary colors. They'll look good together. And you can just dab in. Do you have to use white? No, you do not have to use white at all. We use white for the highlights in the end, but I'm just throwing it in there. Okay, so we have white. That kind of looks beautiful as is, people. So if you're going to add yellow flowers, I'm going to take some yellow. You can use the other end of this Q-tip and just kind of go back over your white. It works better if this is dry, okay? But you'll be able to tell the difference where you dot if it has kind of a little white behind it versus not. You're just dabbing in little clusters. Now, could you make these different? Yes, you could. You could make them kind of like a little V. You could take your finger and do little, kind of a little V, like a little, I don't know, kind of like a little buttercup shape. But just taking your finger and getting it in the paint is just fun anyway. Okay, so here you go. So now we've got some yellow going on here. Now, you noticed I didn't even pay really attention to where I was putting these. I didn't put them all in rows. I didn't go all in lines. My eye, visually, I look at this and it goes this way. I keep telling you this because it will let swoop there. This is probably going to be my focal point, just this little area. And that's what I see. That's where it's taking me. So I'm going to get some purple, some violet, and this straight out of here is pretty, oh, I just squirted that all over the computer screen. Oh boy, it's going to be one of those days. See, it's coming out there really squirty. I'm going to lighten this up pretty a lot. And I've got a periwinkle color somewhere that I like as well. That might be kind of cool to bring that in. I call it periwinkle. It's called light blue violet, whatever. Let's see if I can find another glorious Q-tip. So we could do like lilacs. Let's just pull in a little bit of all this good stuff. So lilacs go kind of up the stalk. You could add some, a little dark, that's okay. Little dots. Now, another good old principle is things that are in the foreground, things that are close to you are going to be larger and more prominent than things in the background. So when you get back here, or up here, way back in your background, you don't need a lot of, like, that's probably a little much right there. You don't need a lot of Q-tip work. You could go very light-handed. Okay, so, and these have to be little rocket pop looking things. No, they could just be little bits here and there. See that dark? I love that dark. I always try and go back because we're going to put, we'll put a little light source in here too, because we have to have sun if we're having flowers. So I might put a little bit of the darker, kind of on the, like the underside of the flower. Does that make sense? So this would be the top of the flower, and this is kind of the underside. I think I'm going to have my light coming this way. And you don't have to necessarily decide that right off the bat, but I'm just going to. It's going to make it easy. Because see how I blopped all that in there? The top is going to be my highlight part eventually. So we're just putting little dabs in. Here and there, here and there. I think it's good too to have a part of your painting that is quiet. You don't have to have something going on everywhere. Like I think this might be my little quiet area. Little quiet spot. Doesn't have to necessarily have something going on everywhere. Okay, so we're getting there. Look at that. It's beautiful as it is. I love pink. I'm going to grab some pink. I think I bought some neon pink. Where is it? Where are you? I don't even know if it's in this bin right here. Out of the bucket, I would not, out of the bucket. Out of the tube, I would not use neon pink on anything. Really, because it is like, well, you can even tell right there. It's like super 80s neon. I mean, super 80s neon. So I'm going to mix it just with another magenta and some white. Come on. I'm going to mix that a little bit. But it's got so much pigment in it that it's pretty cool when you start incorporating it. And like I said, if this were dry, we would not be picking up that green, but that is okay for now because I'm just demoing this. You're going to be patient or use the hairdryer to make them dry. Right? Yes. Okay. The weather is getting beautiful. I've got the pool set up, and it's filling right now. Every 30 minutes I'm filling it, giving the well a break. Okay, remember this is kind of my little quiet spot. I'm going to leave it alone. You can also, when you're doing this, just kind of squint your eyes. You can squint your eyes and see, okay, where should I put more? Where should I, is there some place that's heavy on one color and not the other? The other thing you can do is flip this baby upside down. When it's upside down, when you look at something, you're seeing color. So right now, I see yellow right here, a lot of yellow, which is fine, which is okay. But before, when I had it flipped right side up, I wasn't visually looking at that yellow. I was looking at it as flowers. I was seeing these purpley lilacs and things like that. So if you see, if you're having trouble, you're like, just not doing it for me yet, flip it upside down. The other thing, I like to add a little bit of this pink to my yellow to make an orange. You can just kind of come in and dab a little bit of these flowers with a second color. It just gives them a little bit of variety. You don't have to do all of them. And once you start doing it, you probably can't stop. Okay, so here we go. We're making progress here. And I said we're going to leave kind of a little quiet area for a little bunny to hide. No, I'm not putting any bunnies in this one. Okay, so we have this beautiful flower garden. I still love the fact that my eye kind of takes it up and around right here. This is a little quiet down here, a little quiet down here. You could go in and put just, tiny little bit here. Not much, just a little bit. Okay. If you overwork it, throw some more, back on here. Hit it with this one more time. Who says you can't go back? It's art, it's your art. And put some green. I like that. Go ahead and put some green on top of this, so it doesn't look like you painted every flower on after you did your stems. Kind of, oh, I like that. I really like that a lot. Learn something new every day, people, especially in art. Okay, so here's our little flower garden. I did some splatters up top in white. I'll splatter first and then we'll put little highlights in. I like the splattering, especially like in a field of flowers. It gives it that, you know what I'm talking about when you look across a field in the late evening and you see all these little bits of, I don't know what they are, bits of bits floating in the air. You can see them in the sun. You know what I'm talking about. They're probably in your house too, because I can see them. So I'm going to water down, a little green here. I'm going to water down some white, not too much, okay? And I probably should have used a different brush, but I'm going to take my brush and just add, right on the face, Jenny. Yep, you will get your face. I'm just going to add some white splatters. And I hit my face everywhere. There's an art to splattering. I never learned it. Okay, but I love all that movement up there. I think you will too. So when we want to add some highlights, you can use your finger. You could use another Q-tip. I'll just grab a Q-tip because I said we weren't brushing anything. So we said our sun was coming this way. So when your sun comes from one direction, you're going to find that the sun hits it on that side. I'm not really explaining this very well. And the underside is going to be darker. Okay, so all your little highlights are going to be on the right side of your flowers. So you can just give some of them a little dot of white just to wake them up here and there. And if you do too much, go back over with that yellow or the pink or whatever color it is. But it just wakes them up. It's kind of like putting that little highlight in your eye. Give it that little sparkle. Okay, and I've got a little bit of different colors in here now. And it's not much. It's not covering it the whole thing. And you don't have to do every single one. But there are your flowers. I think I might work this in a little bit. I don't know. I got a lot of that dark purple right there. That's okay. It'll dry. We can work with it. So this is your basic spaghetti wildflower garden. When you think about colors, you could do red. I'd like to see a red and white field. That would be beautiful. I love the warm colors, the oranges, the reds, the pinks, and the yellows all together. This one has cool colors, obviously, because our purple is cool. It's on the cool spectrum. But I think the warmer colors for flowers just pop and make for a beautiful wildflower garden. But go and get on the computer and just Google wildflowers and look at the colors. Look at the fields. If you find an image, all these flowers are not, they're not in rows. They are wild, hence the name wildflowers. So you'll get some great color combination ideas, and literally you can look and see that there aren't flowers in every single little patch. There's some quiet spots. There's some things, that aren't happening here and there because they do grow wild. If you wanted to make your sky darker, you definitely could. You could add in some darker blue. You could almost use your watercolor method, water that paint down, paint it up top, let it drip, so it almost looks like it could be a stormy sky. You could even go lighter here to give it a little bit more contrast, but have fun with these. These are, you cannot mess them up. I did these with my 2nd grade students, and they turned out gorgeous. They used yarn, and they, instead of, kind of that careful, repetitive, nice making their stalks, they were beating the paper a lot with the spaghetti. So we had to do a little tutorial, but they did a great job, and they were beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. I'm framing them for the art show. So look at the difference. See how dark that was? All of these lines are dark. This looks like it could have been, a nighttime garden here, wildflowers. Could I have gone back to lighten this up? Absolutely. And just to show you, let me grab a piece of spaghetti, just to show you. Look, if you think you're too dark, see how I've already lightened that up right there? Go back in, lighten it up. Get some, look, watch, here's white. Get some white, get some green. Tear you in half. There is no right or wrong. It is your art. Make it beautiful. Now, could you go back in with paint markers? Absolutely, absolutely. I'm not going to touch this one because it is wet. But you can go back in, and if you look at this one, I put little dots on the pink flowers. Can you see that? Focus, focus. You could go back in and just put like a little squiggle on just the halves of your pink flowers. I'm going to show you with yellow. Make sure this is dry. You could go back in and just squiggle in, a little pink next to your yellow, just to give it some variety, but tie it all together. So obviously this breed of pink flower has a little bit of yellow in it. The possibilities are absolutely endless. I cannot wait to see these. These you'll want to frame, you'll want to give them away and share with your friends and family. But I love them, love them. Have fun. Be sure to post these so other people can see them and want to join us in our little creative adventure. And have a super Monday. I think the weather's going to be great this week, people. Bye, guys.